This starts the journey. So this is the Green Monster, and we're going to be doing a frame swap, pulling the body off of this once I get it running, and putting the 54 body on top of this chassis. Hopefully eventually it'll be bagged, but for the time being, just kind of getting this one running. So we've got some fuel issues right now. We've replaced the fuel pump relay. I got a new fuel filter, but we're going to be taking the shell off the back and the bed off the back so that we can pull out the fuel pump and sending unit and swap that out. Alright, so here's the existing gas tank, and as you can see if I can get in there, we got a little hole there. Not even a little hole, that's just a hole. Looks like we've got something next to it on the left that's been patched right here, and you just see these dark spots around the tank, obviously showing that this thing has got little pinholes all over it. It's sat for 13 years, just sitting there with gas in it. I'm surprised it's not just dumping out the bottom. So it stinks of old gas. You can see I've got this, the fuel pump is just kind of disconnected up here. It's barely locked in place. But I gotta get the fuel lines disconnected there. We've already got the power plug disconnected. So we're gonna get these fuel lines off. We'll have to replace those because they're pretty dry rotted and brittle as well. Over here, this strap on the other side has one bolt that comes out to drop it down, and you can see here we've got one bolt right here that we're going to take out to loosen that strap. Now this thing it's half full of gas, so I've got to rig up my my floor jack, along with I'm going to put a piece of plywood with a 2x4 on this side and 2x4 on that side, which will allow me to space for the straps to come out, but still keep the pressure underneath the tank with that floor jack. So that's where I'm headed first. Alright, so here's a quick update. Got the gas tank out of the Green Monster. I had to hand siphon out a lot of it. Wasn't quite sure where to put it, so we had an old tank from the 54 that we stuck it in. So here's the S-10 tank that was in there, pretty nasty and rotten and rusted all on the inside, and the old fuel pump that was in there, and then this is the extra 54 tank I've got, which is probably full up to about here with gasoline right now, old gas. And then flip around here, and we've got the new tank going in, just spraying some rubberized undercoating on it. You can see down here at the bottom that it's still silver, kind of peeking in down there, but there we go. You can see it's kind of silver at the very bottom line, so I'm just letting this dry now. I'm gonna flip it over and spray the top of it too. It was already coated with some paint, but I figure, hey, another shot of rubberized undercoating on it, that'd be good, just to keep it secure. Alright, that's it for right now. I gotta let it dry, flip it over, spray the top. I'll take a picture then, and then try and get this thing in. I'm back here at the Green Monster trying to get this fuel filter put on. You see that bright shiny thing up in there? It's that. Let's see if I can get my finger to register. It's right there. That's the fuel filter. This is from underneath the truck, obviously. And yeah, so it's up in there, but if I come up top, and show you the most painful part of this, so I can get you a view. There we go. If you look down there, that's the fuel line on the top, and then the bright shiny silver thing is the bottom of the fuel filter. I'm having to hug this power steering pump right here to get my hand around and hold things in and try, oh, there's a better shot of it, try to get that fuel line lined up, and it is just not wanting to go. So keep pressing on. Hey, what's up everybody? Quick update here. We got the Green Monster back on this one here. Earlier we had done a gas tank, and so we've got the gas tank down there, fuel pump, did a new fuel filter, and actually got this thing running. I'll show you a quick snippet here in a second that it actually just cranks over, turns over. I had a little bit of issues with it, but I found out I was just low on gas. Go figure. That's what happens when you put 2 gallons in a 20-gallon tank and expect it to run. So next thing I'm going to be doing here is pulling apart the inside. I've got to clean this thing out because it is filthy, but that way I can clean it out. I got some electrical things I got to work on. Turn signals don't work, horn doesn't work, so got to kind of dive into that electrical stuff. But if the inside's not clean or cleaner, then I'm going to be just filthy coming out of it, and that's not how I am. So it's a little cooler today. I got my hat on, got a little coat on, but we're going to get some work done on this thing and make it happen. Here we go, guys. Got the inside all gross and nasty, but this is the key right here. Literally the key, but listen to that knock. Nothing like a GM knock. We'll figure all that stuff out later on, clean out the inside, probably take the heads off. But for right now, it starts when I want it to start. I did take it back, backed it up out of the garage here just to make sure the brakes all worked and make sure the steering worked and all that stuff. So got a lot of good things going for it right now. But yep, time to pull apart this inside. This nasty seat's full of grease, and obviously I've pulled apart half the dash already, but just gonna give it a once over so I can start laying down on the floorboard and checking up on the electrical. Yeah, old truck status here. So I'm pulling apart the inside. I'm looking at this nasty, greasy seat cover. I said, well, let's see what's behind here. The things you find... Wait a minute. What do we need a toilet seat for? Ugh, this is going to be gross. Alright, making progress. We got all the mold off of the seat. Seat cover was disgusting, so this is looking much cleaner than before. It's still drying out a little bit, but it's actually clean enough to put a seat cover on. And then if we come in here, got this whole floorboard cleaned up, so it's got all the grease and grime off of it, as you can see. Just the years of funk. I got a little spot up there, just some surface rust, but I ran it over with the wire wheel, so I'm going to go ahead and just spray some Rust-Oleum on it just to seal it up, just for the time being. And then we'll put the seat back in and put it back together. Alright, here we go. Alright, so we're back here with the Green Monster. We're doing the water pump. This is kind of the last day to work on it before we got to bring Pepper back home, the 54. And we can start all the frame swap and body work and all that stuff. So this thing, we're doing the water pump. I've got it all torn out, but I'll take the camera up there and kind of give it a shot at showing you what I've been doing. I've actually driven it once since I got the gas tank and all put back together. Took it to work and brought it back home. The tires were so wide, they were rubbing if I turned more than like a full turn on the steering wheel. and that's just not safe to drive. So I got some different tires put onto it. Yeah, just plugging away at it right now. So I'll flip this camera around and see if I can get you guys inside the hood. Man, it was a pain to get the fan off in this. All the new GMs have this one big bolt, and you put a big wrench on it and smack it and it comes loose, but not this one. You got 4 little bolts you got to take off, and unfortunately I took the whole everything apart before I actually took the fan off, and that was a little no-no. Apparently I should have taken the fan off first, then all my belts and stuff. But here we go. I'll flip this camera around and give you guys a look. Well, let's see if we can get you guys shot in here. We can come from over top here. So this here, we got the AC compressor. It's still attached. It just normally sits in these 2 bolts here, and so we pulled that out the way. Over here is the power steering pump, which normally sits down here. So we pulled that out the way. Everything's still connected. So here we are. This is the water pump, and so I've got my. You can't see my bucket down there, but I drained the radiator. I got to disconnect the hose here, inlet hose for the water pump, and obviously we've got the exit hose down here to go in back into the radiator. So I got to disconnect those. I'm going to put my catch pan underneath there, catch everything because it's just going to go everywhere. But then it's just a matter of getting these bolts all around here loosened up, zipped up. Once I take those off, more stuff's going to fall out. I was trying to scrape this thing, these bolts. This thing was nasty. I even took it to the pressure washer, the old park and wash up the street. But this thing has so much RTV around, it's probably going to take me half a day just to get the RTV off of the block. But anyway, we'll get it pulled back together. Yeah, these bolts here, there's the spacer that sits back over top of this. And then the fan goes on the front, and it's got these little nuts that go on it, and this guy spins freely, and so you had to hold one nut and try and loosen the other side, but as you're loosening one side, it's tightening this side, and that ended up getting me 3 out of the 4 bolts, and then I just still had the pulley on there, so I had to just hold it with a vice grip and lock it into this thing, and it was just confusing. I should have removed these 4 bolts, loosened them up before I started taking all the stuff apart. Anyway, you live, you learn, and so here we go. I'm going to go ahead and start draining stuff and see what I can get done today. Alright, so here's the old water pump. I looked at the back. Couple spots right there by that by this bolt right here where it looked like it was leaking, and maybe around this bolt as well. Of course you can't see that upside down. There you go. So yeah, it looks like it was just leaking around this area here, and maybe in this spot as well, but this truck's got 250,000 miles on it. So I figured if it's leaking now, then let's just get the engine taken care of. So that's all my bolts lined up in this pretty little pattern here, so I could trace them back around. Get the fan and the pulley and all. And then if we bring you up over here, there we are. Still dripping some loveliness out, but so I just got to clean up all around here, all these bolts, RTV, got to get all that stuff cleaned off, and then put the new one on, put it back together.